We are back with the Aston Martin Owners Club, who are holding a special track day at Silverstone for their members. There are cars here from every era of Aston Martin's history, including many pre-war vintage models that are almost priceless. Pink Floyd's drummer Nick Mason is an avid collector of classic cars and actually started his collection with a vintage Aston or two.
Well, I'm here with Andy Bell, and I was just wondering if you could just tell us a bit about your association with Aston Martins and when it all began.
Well, I started with Nick Mason, and this is the car that started it off.
Wow.
It's 1935 Ulster. It's a works team car that raced at the TT in 1935, and this was the very start of Nick's collection.
And in terms of these two cars here, these are
both Nick's cars, and this is the second car that Nick bought at Mortain, and we rebuilt an LM17 there. The LM refers to Le Mans, and that's how the works team cars were called. So this is LM21, LM18 and LM17.
So these are some of the real early ones?
These are the genuine works racing cars that were built in the 1930s, yes.
And in terms of racing these, how much work do they need to get into race condition?
You have to prepare any racing car properly, because even in these old cars, you're doing over 100 miles an hour on the circuit. We have no seat belts and no rollover bars, so if they do go off the circuit, you're in big trouble.
And in terms of safety, you did mention it, is there any kind of safety other than the crash helmet when these go out and
Well, race? I wear armour around my chest when I'm racing, but essentially, no, there isn't. You know, you weigh up the risks and you decide to go racing in these old cars if you think it's safe enough for you. But if you think about it, you're probably much more likely to get run over crossing the road than having a serious accident.
And I understand that there's one that you're going to be racing today, and it's actually a very famous car.
Yes, I'll be racing the ex-Dick Seaman 2-litre Aston.
Should we go and have a look at it?
It was raced by Dick Seaman in the TT.
Right.
It was raced at Le Mans by Dudley Folland. It did the Mille Miglia with a Dutchman called Hertzberger. It's done 3 Le Mans, 3 Mille Miglias, it's done Spa, it's done just about every serious pre-war race that you could want to do.
Is it possible to see the engine?
Sure, certainly. So this is a 2-litre engine. It's just come back from the Mille Miglia in Italy 2 weeks ago, so it's still very much as used. But it's a 2-litre overhead cam engine, 140 brake horsepower, and it's capable of 120 miles an hour. It's a terrific pleasure to drive. They're very exciting to drive. They're actually quite fast cars, but these particular speed models have very powerful hydraulic brakes, close ratio racing gearboxes, and they're just a delight to drive, yes.
Traditionally, vintage motor racing is seen as a male-dominated sport, but that's not entirely the case in the Aston Martin Owners Club, as many of the drivers are female.
There are little to no women racing here today. I just wanted to find out how many women do you see at these events that are actually racing?
In this race there's quite a lot. In fact, my stepdaughter is also racing, and myself and my other stepdaughter would be racing, except that she's 7 months pregnant.
Oh.
So in fact...
Not quite the room. How competitive do you get?
I get incredibly competitive, but I'm turning it down a bit because I got over-competitive last time and pushed something off. So.
It seems to be, in the last 4 years, I've seen an increase even in the number of girls driving. And a lot of them driving Bentleys, these heavy 3-litre Bentleys as well, which look a bit of a handful.
Yeah, I think that women bring to these race days that the men don't bring. Elegant style.
Yeah.
A I've just been chatting to some of the drivers of the pre-war cars. There's some lady drivers in there as well, absolutely fantastic, and they're literally just revving up as we speak and about to head out on track.
These cars are raw in every sense of the word, and each driver has to learn the very mechanical nature of how they drive. Racing these cars without seatbelts or a roll cage at speeds in excess of 100 miles an hour may be a potentially dangerous business, but it's also a highly exhilarating one.